Raw review for the September 2nd episode of Raw. I'm Will, that's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers, talk about some wrestling, huh?
Yeah, Monday Night Raw, we got Joe Tessitore debut, Denver, Colorado, close to Kansas City. We thought to ourselves, well, that's not too far of a flight. It's probably pretty cheap. Let's just say we're glad we didn't go.
Yeah, this one was a tough one. As you just said, show did start off with Wade Barrett introducing the newest commentator to the WWE family, Joe Tessitore. So looking forward to what he does in the future. I don't want to judge him today. I know that during it I was a little bit like, need a little bit more juice from him, but it's a hard job. Give him time.
Yeah, I think I noticed more than anything, he's really good at the serious stuff tonight.
Yes.
But some of the inflections in your voice and getting excited and really making somebody feel that through the screen, that's going to have to...
It's just... I've been spoiled with Michael Cole and Pat McAfee on Raw for months now, and those guys are just oozing, flair. So it's hard to...
It's almost like, and no disrespect to Wade Barrett, because I like Wade Barrett. I know some people probably don't, but it's like, if you have Joe there, you might need somebody that is a little bit able to make up for that a little bit. Yeah. So an interesting pairing to say the least, but it was something this week.
Yeah. So we'll get started. Rhea Ripley would come to the ring. She'd say, "Welcome to Monday Night, Mommy." And she said that her and Damian brutalized Dom and Liv at Bash. And now, because of that, she wants what she never lost. She wants her title back. And when she demands Liv to come out to the ring, Liv did not come out to the ring. Mr. Dirty Dom came out to the ring with a big old shiner. I mean, dude's black eye was looking disgusting.
Yeah, and it's one of those black eyes, too, that's so good. So good, so bad, but the blood vessels are popped in the eyeball, too. Like, oof.
He took a shiner. He has a shiner. Anyway, they, per usual, the crowd would not let this man speak. And he was yelling Spanish at him. I mean, he was getting pissed. Rhea was doing her best to try to simmer the crowd down to let him get his part out. But crowd was not having it. Anyway, he said that Liv is still recovering from Bash because of what they did to Liv and Dom, and they caught him at a bad moment. They were jet lagged, hadn't slept. He said for multiple reasons they hadn't slept, but caught him at a bad time in Bash at Berlin. But even though Liv is not here, she will accept your challenge. She's not afraid of you. She's beaten you once. She will do it again.
Yeah.
And Rhea said, "Let me sum up what the crowd is saying to you. Quiete, stupido." And she said, "If Liv won't come out here, then tell Liv I'll face her anytime, any place." And the second she says this, anytime, any place must be now, because Liv Morgan shows up and she gets the best of Rhea Ripley and she takes down... No. Rhea just backhand elbows her really quickly like she knew she was there the entire time. Gets rid of Liv. But Dom's now in the ring, and he thought that Liv was going to get the jump, so he's like, I need to get out of the ring now. He gets out of the ring, and as Rhea is getting out of the ring to chase him, Liv Morgan comes and shoves her, and her foot gets caught in the rope, and she hangs like how Damian Priest did in that PLE. I think it was, I don't know which one that was, maybe Night of Champions. I don't know. That weird spot or that botch that...
Clash?
Was it Clash?
Yeah, Clash because it was Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. Where his foot literally got caught and it was dangling. This was not a botch. It was story driven. But Rhea was hanging there and Liv got some kicks off. And she also pulled her hair down, gave her a big kiss on the cheek. And Damian Priest would come out and kind of shoo away Liv and Dom. But... right after the match, we go back, or right after that segment, we go backstage, and Rhea's flipping out backstage. She won't let the medical team watch or look at it. And Damian's like, "You know what? I know you're pissed. I'm going to find some part of Judgment Day tonight to have a match because we deserve some revenge for this. But until then, you need to get looked at." But Rhea is, I guess she's going to be injured for the foreseeable future. And that's how they're going to kind of do this whole evening out of her and Liv. I gotta drop this, man. Yeah, I'll let you go first, but I'm dropping it.
I'm gonna drop this as well.
I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, I don't really know what to say as I sit here and think about this because, like I said, I'm gonna drop it. The Bash performance by Rhea and Damian really kind of overshadowed or kind of killed any joy I had for this feud. Rhea getting the upper hand again right away on Liv, like not even a sneak attack's going to work. She's
Right.
still super strong and eyes in the back of her head. And like, yeah, you can do it from a knee injury, but at the same time, like, I guess a little foreshadowing, we'll see later on. I feel like that wouldn't even be enough for me after Bash to think, oh, the odds are even now. You know what I mean? Like, your world champion is still going against somebody that's so ridiculous that like nothing's going to slow Rhea down, it seems, even if it is a knee injury. So I don't know. Just as a whole, I didn't like the idea of it.
Yeah, I was completely on. I was ready for Liv to get the jump here and maybe get a moment where Liv just dominates Rhea for a moment, and I can at least say, okay, maybe they're on the same level still. But I mean, does Rhea have freaking spider senses? Like she jumps out of nowhere and just immediately doesn't even look at it. Just swings the elbow and Liv's done again. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, what do they need? What are they gonna do here for me to actually believe that Liv's gonna get the underhand? And then she falls on the rope and gets caught, and then she has the leg or the knee or the foot injury or whatever it's gonna be. And then later in the night, spoiler, that doesn't end up. Liv still runs away.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are we gonna do here to make me believe that Liv has any shot at this?
Yeah, and we'll get to the later in the night stuff and the main event stuff, but yeah, it's more of how do they. The approach they're taking is, how do we take Rhea Ripley and make her look weak? It's not, how do we make Liv look strong?
Yeah.
And Liv is the champ, and that's really kind of where I have the problem with it.
Great point.
I feel like they should have made Liv look strong some way, somehow, because Liv still doesn't look strong another night after they just lost. So it's just like, it's really hard to buy into, honestly, at this point, really any of Judgment Day.
Yeah, I mean, if you're completely right. At this point, Liv cannot be booked strong. If she can't even get a sneak attack off, what can she do? But we have more to talk about that later. So right away, we go from there to a Chad Gable American Made backstage little promo, or they're backstage getting ready for a match. Mm-hmm. And Chad is sitting there saying that he is sick of losing to the Wyatt Six. And he points to the Creeds and Ivy Nile, and he says, you guys are the three best athletes there are. Tonight, we're going to go whoop up on this loser squad. Show them that you are American made. And they walk out to the ring because they're fighting Alpha Academy.
Yeah, and real quick before we get into the actual match, the conclusion of that, where Brutus flips over a table and then Ivy Nile gets some words of encouragement or something, and then he just slaps the hell out of Julius Creed.
Just slaps.
I mean, just full on.
I was kind of in the moment. I was sitting there watching him because Ivy Nile was like pacing like a rabid dog because she's a pit bull, and then Brutus is like getting all pumped, and Julius is just sitting there stone cold. And I'm like, what is he doing? Like, did you not get the memo?
It's got to be something.
And then he gets smacked, and I'm like, oh, that's why he needs the wake up slap. Okay. But this was a fun match. It started out, all 6 members were in the ring. And I was like, is this a tornado 6-man? But the girls can only fight the girls. What's going on here? But the American Made clears the ring almost immediately. They keep Tozawa in there, and the Creeds beating up on him. But when Otis comes in, he get a good like cross body on Julius, but still the Creeds would start to whoop up on Otis as well, until Otis would get a hot tag to Miss Maxine, who would get some offense in here. She get a quick little drop kick to Ivy Nile, and then she would tag Otis back in. Otis would put Tozawa on his shoulders and do like the helicopter where he's hitting the Creed brothers. They're just fun at this point. They're a fun tag team. But Maxine would come back in, and this woman would she'd get tagged back in. Or not, I don't even think she got tagged. She just got pointed to. And she got on top of the ring post and did a diving crossbody to all 3 members, the Creeds and Ivy Nile on the outside, and the crowd popped the hell out of that.
Yeah, and then she gets in the ring and then she rips off her shirt.
Yeah,
like
she Hulk
Tozawa
Hogan,
and Hulk Hogan and Otis, all of those. I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, Otis would do a caterpillar, and then he'd tag Maxine back in, and she was gonna do her own little caterpillar until Chad Gable gets on the rope, and he's like, no, you don't do that. and when he does that, Maxine smacks the hell out of Chad Gable finally, but this gives Ivy Nile enough time to put her in the, the Dragon Sleeper or something like that?
Yeah.
The Dragon Sleeper hold. Maxine ends up tapping out. American Made does win this match, but right after the match, Chad Gable grabs the microphone. He goes, the whole crowd saying, you suck, per usual. He goes, I don't suck, the Wyatt Six suck. He goes, last week, howdy. Howdy's freak family ruined our one-on-one match. I had you. I'm calling Howdy out. Next week, 8-man tag team match. You two, you 4 or us 4 versus whatever 4 you freaks want to put out there. It'll be a street fight. We're going to get rid of the Wyatts, not just for everybody in this building, but for America. And that would, next page in my book. When this happened, the lights would go out. Howdy was not going to take that trash talk. Of course not.
Nope.
Howdy had a mic, and it was a very cool scene. Like, it was just like the silhouette of Howdy, but you could see him with the mic. And he'd say, 375 days ago, my sanity crumbled, which we looked up. 375 days ago was passing of Bray Wyatt. He said, the silence has been deafening, but I can still hear it all. He goes, my life is no longer mine. Chad Gable, you gambled your being away, and we will collect the debt. And all the other Wyatts come out, and they pose. Match was fun. Wyatt stuff was short, simple, to the point, cool. Got to pop all that.
Yeah, I'm going to pop this as well. For me, at least, off the top of my head, kind of the highlight of the night. It started out pretty good for me, and I had high hopes from here.
Yeah.
Didn't really pan out that way. But as for the match itself, it was cool. It was just a fun match. Like,
yeah,
American Made is still really impressive in the ring with stuff they can do. We got to see a lot of Maxine and kind of her improvements. Like you said, the drop kick, the cross body. She hit Gable with a high kick when she knocked him off the ropes. And then you have her losing to Ivy Nile is the smart move there, right? I mean, Ivy Nile's more experienced. Maxine's the weakest one of the Alpha Academy. So just kind of makes sense. It's kind of interesting to me the way they're still weaving in like Alpha Academy into the Wyatt Six, into the American Made.
Yeah.
Like it's cool the way they're doing it. It still's pretty seamless to me. At least I'm still enjoying it. As for the Wyatt stuff, like you said, short, simple, to the point. First time Chad or Uncle Howdy. Chad, why did I say Chad? Uncle Howdy or Bo. I don't know why I said Chad. Cuts like a live promo.
Yeah.
Like first time he has a mic in the ring or whatever, or on the stage, and cuts like a little promo. Good stuff. Like we said, 8-person street fight next week. Assuming Howdy's not in that. That was our guess. Yeah. And yeah, that's going to be good. I mean, I don't know kind of how they go about that, because to me, the Wyatts still can't have a loss, but American Made also is kind of piling up the losses. I know they get one here, but it's also like they're just going to keep getting beat by the Wyatt Six and Wyatt Six. You know what I mean?
Yeah. In terms of the Howdy 8-man tag match next week, I think that not only should Howdy and them win, I think it should be the end of the Wyatt Six versus American Made. Because the reason being is that I do want Chad and the Creeds to have success in some fashion, and I also don't want Howdy and them to lose for a bit. So the only way to do that is to just finish this off. We will all believe that the Wyatt win it for however way you do it, and then you can go ahead and move away and have the Creeds go on a winning streak and keep beating up on Alpha Academy maybe for a little bit, and then go whichever route you go. Hopefully the tag titles get away from Judgment Day so you can actually do something with that. But so yeah, I'm just thinking that next week is the end to this whole Chad Gable versus the Wyatt Six thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of maybe more my thought is like you kind of need to wrap that up because you don't want the same thing dragging on. Maybe Abby the Witch beats Ivy Nile, but gets the pin on Ivy because we haven't got to see a lot of Abby the Witch. So maybe that's the route they go for the street fight. I hope it gets something cool. I hope it's just not like a normal street fight with just random weapons and stuff like that, like we saw Nia Jax on SmackDown. I hope there's some sort of added like Wyatt element. Yeah,
hopefully they do. The match ends in some sort of like not like exactly a buried alive, but something that has like the metaphoric speaking of like all these guys are now buried. This story's done. Yeah. Move it on. But yeah, maybe it should be great.
Maybe they fight backstage and they have like a random Firefly Funhouse like set built.
That'd be sick.
And maybe some way the match ends in there or something. That'd be just sick. Something cool to be like, okay, like you said, this is it. This is the finale, but have some Wyatt kind of added flair to it.
Completely agree. We moved it on to the match of the night. Zelina Vega versus Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler comes out with the Pure Fusion Collective, per usual. Zelina is hot early. She's pissed. It's her first singles match back since the Pure Fusion Collective hurt her arm. So what did she do? she tried to hurt Shayna Baszler's arm at the beginning of the match. She was trying to arm for an arm is what it is. And early in the match, she'd have Shayna wrapped up on the rope or on the turnbuckle, and she'd do like a 619 to Shayna's shin and then drop kick her. And then she'd do she'd go for a top rope moonsault, get a 1-2 ooh there. Eventually, though, PFC would get involved. Zelina would clear them, but Shayna would hit like a running knee that looked like a typical running knee. 1, 2, 3. Shayna gets a quick win here after the match. PFC surrounds Zelina Vega, beat up on her a little bit, and then Sonya Deville claims that their shit don't stink. Everybody else, there's not a man that can take us on a date backstage or whatever she said. There's not
a man in the arena that could get with them, not a woman that could step up, basically, was kind of what they said.
And if you want some, come get some was the general
Yeah, shoot your shot. That's what she said.
Shoot your shot was the general promo here.
You didn't even include the Valkyria stuff, did you?
Oh, yeah, right. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was going right over it. My bad. Lyra Valkyria came out to help Zelina Vega, but Pure Fusion Collective, 3 versus 2 numbers win there. Good to see Lyra.
And then she cuts that weird promo.
Yeah, and then she cuts the promo. This was all quick, and the promo was gross. But seeing Lyra was cool. She's back. Hopefully she's away from the party people. I like Lyra, but all in all, this got to be a drop. I know we seem a little negative, but it just wasn't good. Like this it wasn't good. The promo was bad. The match wasn't great. I'm gonna have to give it a drop.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop this one as well. I don't know. It just nothing about this clicked for me. Not even in the match. Like I didn't think the match was very good. It was just like, okay, it's a match.
I thought for a Zelina match, Zelina showed out a little bit.
I think maybe for me, I was just kind of like, I'm not bought into it already.
You know what I do notice is that this Pure Fusion Collective has this their entire like gimmick is that they're 3 of the toughest women because they actually are. They're MMA past MMA backgrounds. They're badass women, but most of their matches they get beat up most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like Zelina did 90% of the offense this match.
Yeah, and maybe that's kind of where their characters are like we can take all this damage and still survive. Maybe that's probably the route they go with it. The match itself wasn't anything special. Shayna Baszler, to me, I really liked Shayna Baszler in the previous months where they were building her up almost like that NXT level Shayna Baszler. I feel like we've kind of lost that a little bit, so that kind of sucks, at least in my opinion.
I agree.
She was really on a good trajectory of really kind of establishing herself again. She's kind of lost that. As for the Valkyria stuff, like, they're going to have a match next week, like a 3-on-3, and it's in Canada, so she knows somebody that they can get or something. Maybe Trish Stratus. I don't know. That just seems... The way they cut this random Valkyria, Zelina Vega, I know somebody that'll help us or something. Just seemed weird.
Make it be a call-up. Make it be an NXT call-up. Give this stuff some juice because... It sucks to hear us talk about this because when this group was originally formed, before the stupid name and everything, we were excited. We were like Sonya, Shayna, like Zoe Stark. These 3, like it makes sense. They're badasses. They all have been underutilized in the main roster. This is perfect. And then since then, I just feel like booking decisions and in-ring and like match quality just hasn't been up to what we thought. Yeah. It just hasn't hit.
Yeah, it hasn't hit. Zelina Vega. She's kind of, ever since she's been like, she was randomly with like the LWO, but she wasn't really like a focal point. And then now she's like on her own kind of, but still in there, but also on her own. So she's kind of like lost and in this weird spot.
But she kind of tags with anybody who decides to help her.
And then Valkyria randomly is just thrown in with random people, whether it's party people or Zelina Vega. Like there's no reason for her to be.
Yeah.
She's a singles competitor and we've acknowledged that, but it's like, oh, hey, we need somebody to fill in. Here you go.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of hurting Valkyria's stock, in my opinion, right
now.
Yeah,
I love Lyra. She needs to be a singles.
This segment, match, backstage stuff, ring promo, nobody looked good.
Yeah.
Nobody came in the night and came out looking better. It kind of dropped all their stocks, in my opinion, which kind of seemed like the theme of the night.
Yeah, agreed. Good stuff happened here, though. CM Punk comes out to the ring, and he's excited because he won. And he did it. It was clean. Yep. He did it in the strap match. We gave if you want to see our review, it's up for Bash in Berlin. We couldn't have been higher on it. I thought it was an absolute 5-star strap match. I absolutely loved it. 7 in the Tokyo Dome. He goes, now that Drew and the personal rivalry is done, we can get down to business. And I looked at you and I was like, what do you mean? Is he going to call out Gunther? And he goes, one other man went through hell at Bash in Berlin and won. Gunther. He goes, I put Drew to sleep, and now CM Punk should wake up as a champion. The goal is gold. The target is Gunther. And he puts down the mic, and he starts celebrating, and this music's going, and I'm sitting there like, no way. Are we seriously just going to end 1-1 here? Of course not. Of course not. It's wrestling. He gets on the table and celebrates, and anybody who gets on an announce table should know that they're probably going to get their ass thrown onto the announce table. Actually, a hooded man, a hooded 6'9", 320-pound man.
6'5". Let's not give Drew too much credit.
I have no idea. A hooded, huge man swipes the leg of CM Punk, who falls on the table, and the camera pans to this hooded man with a beard and takes the hood off. Could you imagine? It's Drew McIntyre.
The hoodie's unzipped, and he's got the hood over though, but it's Drew McIntyre and all of his physique and his beard, like you said. You're like, I wonder who that could be.
That's gotta be Kane. He starts beating the holy hell out of this man, though, and it was good. He was smacking his hand on the announce table. Then he got on him on the announce table and started wailing his head. His good buddy Wade Barrett's trying to stop him the whole time, but he's just not even acknowledging that he exists. He even runs and does a Claymore on the announce table. Like, CM Punk was kind of still laying on the announce table, and Drew ran up and Claymored him on the announce table, which is kind of cool.
That was cool.
Rolled him in the ring, Claymored him again, but it wasn't over. He wants that bracelet, and I'm looking at you, and I'm like, no, not the bracelet. Please, let's not do a whole nother month of, like, give me my bracelet back. He takes the bracelet off, breaks it, snaps it in half, breaks the bracelet in half, puts the bracelet beads in CM Punk's mouth, claymores him again. Beads go flying out of his mouth. Great shot there. We come back from commercial. CM Punk's getting stretchered out of the arena. He ain't done. Drew McIntyre comes out and gouges his eyes, and like while he's on the stretcher, blood's coming out of his mouth. Everybody's trying to stop him. So Drew and CM Punk is going to go round 3. No more bracelets. It's going to be all for hatred and rivalry, hopefully in a Hell in a Cell. This is good stuff. I got to pop that.
Yeah, I'm going to pop this as well. Thought it was really, really good. Not much more else to add, I guess. The Punk stuff, like, we had both thought Punk was going to win this feud at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The Punk promo to Gunther kind of gives that away, to me at least. And then you have Wade Barrett kind of randomly in there with, like, Drew, but, like, kind of, I don't know, to me at least, it made it seem like maybe that's going to be a match down the line. I know Wade Barrett's kind of like been cleared or whatever. I like Wade Barrett.
He was like, yeah, that's a man I couldn't recognize.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just weird because, like, typically they don't put so much emphasis on the relationship of the commentator and the wrestler, right? So that was interesting, I guess. The backstage stuff again, the attack, he rips the neck brace off, Punk's bleeding. Good stuff. Looks like he's got grape jelly on the side of his cheek. Yeah. I thought that was funny. But yeah, bad blood. Punk won't be on TV for a couple weeks, I assume.
That sucks.
Well, actually, I could be wrong because Braun Strowman survived an attack.
That's conversation for a minute.
I guess who knows? Punk will maybe be back tomorrow. Maybe Punk will be on NXT. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Anyway, we moved it on. We had our IC tournament match, the third out of the 4. Mm-hmm. We already got 2 men in it in our fatal 4-way match. Yes. Dom Mysterio is taking on Dragon Lee and Ilya Dragunov triple threat match, and immediately the Dragons team on Dom. They throw him out of the ring, but Dom would come back in and kind of get the advantage of both of them for a minute, make them look silly, like that. Mm-hmm. Need some offense from Dom.
Yes,
but Ilya would do what Ilya does, double suplex to both guys. Ilya is great per usual. He'd do a power bomb into an H-bomb on the Dragon Lee, and then he'd go for the pin, and Dom would top rope frog splash him to break the pin up. That was fun. Yeah. We get an Ilya Death Valley driver on the apron to Dom, and then freaking Dragon Lee walks out through the ropes and like Hurricane Rana's Ilya off the apron, which was great. And then Dragon Lee would go to the top rope to do something to Dom. Mr. Carlito is there.
Mm-hmm.
He'd come out. He'd shove Dragon Lee off the top rope because it's a triple threat match. No disqualification there. But guess who comes out? Mr. Damian Priest. He's ready to beat up on some Damian and some Carlito.
Dom and Carlito.
It's really Dom and Carlito. And this is where things went terribly wrong for me personally. Damian come out and Carlito would obviously beat the hell out of Damian. No, Damian would literally just flick that man away like a bug. And before Damian could get into the ring to come after Dom would do like a baseball slide drop kick, and Damian would just kind of no sell it. He'd go back like a foot and just look at Dom. And Dom, who is in the middle of a match that is a tournament to get to a title match, looks at Damian Priest one time, turns around, and runs out of the match. Mm-hmm. Gone for the rest of the night. Just gives up his match. One look from Damian, and this dude runs for his dear life from a title opportunity, from the show, period.
Yep.
What the hell? We'll finish.
We'll get into that after the rest of the match.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we continue, and Dragon Lee and Ilya are like, screw that guy, we're going to put on a show anyways. And that's what they absolutely do. Dragon Lee would do a pop-up power bomb to Ilya. Ilya would do a Death Rally driver into the ropes. 1, 2. Ooh, they got their shot here. They got their 4 or 5 minutes. They put on an absolute show. Dragon Lee top rope stomp, corner drop kicks. But Ilya would eventually hit the Torpedo Moscow on Dragon Lee and would get the win in this this tournament match. This match itself, the wrestling was great. I'll pop the wrestling. But I'm going to give the Dom stuff a drop. I have to give that a drop. That was awful.
Yeah. As you said for the match itself, I'm gonna pop as well. Although the only gripe I kind of have is that it seemed to kind of, just like the Shayna match to me, it kind of had like an abrupt end. Like I get that he's used that move before and he's won matches before, but it just seemed like kind of out of nowhere. Hey, we're running over on time. Yeah. Let's go home basically. So the wrestling itself was good. Dragon Lee and Dragunov are both really, really good in the ring. Would like to see Dom get some more offense in just as a whole in his matches. The Damian Priest stuff, it just doesn't make any sense. I'm going to drop that as well. Like, I understand Priest wants to go after Dom, but then he gets the baseball slide drop kick in the head and he literally just like turns his head. Like he gets hit and he just turns his head and then that's it. It's over. We're getting chased out and Dom's just running for his life. I'm finding myself not liking Damian Priest as much. The Dom stuff, I get he's supposed to be like that cowardly heel, but there is a point where it comes to be too cowardly.
Yeah.
Like you're in a match for a title, and to get to a title, I guess. Just take the lumps in the match and then finish the match. You know what I mean?
That's one thing. He didn't even hit him yet. Like Damian hadn't done a move. Like if Damian was sitting there kicking the shit out of him, like, fine, okay, get out of there. But you didn't even let him touch you. Like, you're a wrestler. That you're like, I don't have words for it because I've really never seen a heel like this that just flat out run. Like, how am I ever supposed to believe in Dom making a comeback from this? Like, now I'd be pissed if like he went and got a North American title. We were just talking about a few months, like a month and a half ago, should Dom win a title? And a bunch of people in our comment section were like, we love Dom. He's doing phenomenal work. I would love him to get an IC. I would love him to go back to NXT and take that North American again or something like that. Mm-hmm. Now I'm like, shit, man, I wouldn't give him the 24/7 if it still existed.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things right now that his stock has dropped. And it's not by anything of his own doing. Like, he's doing what they're asking him to doing, and he's doing it well. But yes. Like, whatever creative is deciding to do for Dom, it's just made it to where you can't take him seriously at all anymore right now. Like, you're going to need a major reset to kind of recover from it. I mean, the Bash stuff, they look so overpowered, and then he's so afraid he's just going to disappear. Like, I also don't like the idea of other storylines overtaking it, like matches, right?
Yeah.
Like, I understand if like a storyline gets kind of woven in and maybe somebody costs somebody a match. Yeah. I get that. That's fine. Yeah. But to literally have a triple threat match and have one person just run away, it's like, what are we doing here, you know? The
biggest star run away.
Yeah.
Like Ilya's the best wrestler in that ring, but Dom is by far the biggest star in terms of like mainstream attention. And he just runs away.
Mm-hmm.
I can't explain it. Like that's a serious drop.
Yeah, and Carlito got attacked, right? Carlito on the outside, he got attacked. He got like one punched, and he was done.
Yep, per usual.
And it's like, yeah, okay, that's what happens to Carlito. But I don't know. Like I told you, have Carlito just hop in the match. just have Carlito just join in there and real quick, something like.
Yeah.
The whole thing was a miss for me.
Yeah.
Just not a fan.
All right, we'll move on. Adam Pearce is backstage, and they're talking about the replacement for Bronson Reed because, unfortunately, he tested for COVID, so he was a part of the last IC tournament match. They need a man for the job. Walks up, it's Braun Strowman. He says that the medical has cleared him. He can go. This man took the nastiest spot we've seen, especially in storytelling WWE-wise, in a long time. He's back in less than a week. Woohoo.
Yeah, it says something. I know, like you said, Bronson Reed gets COVID and you can't really control that. But the way they frame it in the story is Bronson Reed can't be there because of his injuries.
Yeah.
Because of that. But Braun Strowman can compete in
the
a
guy
match.
who took it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, okay.
I get you're in a corner. Why not just be real and say that he was supposed to be in this match, but he got COVID and he can't be here? And just have a singles match.
I mean, we'll get to that. I mean,
Well,
the thing is you literally could have, like, the Raw roster is so deep.
Yeah.
You could have literally just thrown anybody. Karrion Kross.
I agree.
Does it make any sense because he was already in a triple threat? No, but why not? The Miz, he was already in a triple threat. I don't really care. Just throw somebody out there that didn't just get destroyed last week.
Yep.
Anybody else would have worked.
Completely agree. Jade and Bianca had come to the ring, the new women's tag team champs. They were here to watch the number one contender match between Damage Control and the Unholy Union. This was something as well. Right away, Kairi Sane would take Isla Dawn outside the ring. She would do like a running, jumping elbow off the apron. And then that'd be followed up with Io doing a standing moonsault off the apron to Alba Fire. And then they'd kind of look at, Bianca and Jade, be like, we coming for them belts. Unholy Union, though, would work over Kairi Sane most of the middle of the match. And Unholy Union, going to give them all their flowers. They continue to just look great as a tag team every single week in terms of like being a tag team. I say it every single time. They do a bunch of tag team moves with each other. They do like the quick tags in and out. Makes sense. Later in the match, we'd have an Io hot tag who would do a double drop kick to Union. And Kairi Sane, when she does a double drop kick, they both roll out of the ring. And Alba or Isla Dawn is close to Jade and Bianca. And Kairi Sane would go to the top rope to do like a lunging, like an elbow. It looked
kind of
like
an insane elbow.
It was like an insane elbow is what it looked like she was going to do. She would do it, and Isla Dawn would pull Bianca in to take it. Looked cool, but Kairi Sane overshot it by a mile. And Bianca tried to save her and pull her back in, but when she did that, she ended up kind of hurting the situation in a way. It was the right thing to do. I'm not hating on Bianca, but unfortunately, when she tried to save her, it was too late. And Sane came down and her eye hit the corner of the table. That eye looked bad.
Yeah. I called that out to you live. I was like, oh my God, she just overshot that. She hit the edge of that table. It looked painful live, and then as you see like the pictures later on of her eye, it's like
nasty. Anyway, this would lead to Kairi Sane on the outside is getting yelled at by Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill because they're like, "Why'd you hit me?" And I saw it, which it's not any of the wrestlers' problems in the ring, but the ref is out. The ref's looking at this issue. He's like kind of telling the girls to stop. And Jade Cargill just punches Kairi Sane. That's a disqualification. He just ignores it. He's like, you can tell, you can see him. He's like, shouldn't have been looking at that. And just goes back to the match.
Yeah, it's one thing to have the ref see it and maybe it's off camera. Maybe you can do it that way. Or maybe the ref's not looking and it's on camera. But when you have the shot and you see the ref in the background looking, it's like, oh, okay.
Ring the bell, bro.
Okay.
Anyway, this would lead to Unholy Union would take advantage of Io Sky in the ring. They'd hit their finisher and get the win. So we are going to get, or Unholy Union gets the number one contendership. I can't hate on the ref thing. That happens. It's not their fault. I'm going to go ahead and give this match the benefit of the doubt here. I'm going to give it a pop. Now, would I have liked Damage Control to win instead of Unholy Union? Yes, but it is what it is. I guess Unholy Union has beaten Jade and Bianca once. Jade and Bianca has beaten them once, so this is kind of your third payoff match. Well, I'm going to go ahead and give it to them. This was fun enough. Pop.
Yeah, I would agree with that logic, except at the end of the match, like Unholy Union is backing away because they won the match, and then Damage Control is they're squaring up with Jade and Bianca. So it's also just like, oh, well, that's kind of, I mean, I guess it makes sense because of what they did in the match, but then like obviously that means Jade and Bianca are going to win as they should. So just weird. I'm going to drop it.
Okay. Understood. The
wrestling itself for me, like it was okay. Usually we talk about Damage Control kind of being like a shining star where like, they're going to always put on, like, it doesn't really matter. Even if they're in the ring with somebody random, they're going to put on a really good match.
Yep.
This match to me just seemed off a tick. Unholy Union, as much as they worked together as a team, some of the moves didn't really hit. Something was just off a little bit.
I also don't think the match was given enough time. I think it needed like 2 or 3 more extra minutes for Damage Control to really get what they normally do in the ring, because Unholy Union, as good as they are as a tag team, they're more heelish, right? So they're not, and they don't do, the Damage Control, they're glitz and glam. They're flying from the top rope, and it's like, oh my God. But Unholy Union's more like holds and tag in, do a move, tag in, do a move real quick, stuff like that. So it's not eye popping stuff.
Yeah, and like you said, the stuff being on camera, like it's like, I'm not gonna hold that against the ref, but like we did all see it, and then for Kairi saying like that was the moment you could tell they were all building up for, and then for her to just dive bomb into the table, like just overall that kind of to me summarized Raw as a whole. Like they're built up to this moment, and then it just didn't go how it was supposed to go.
Agreed. Rhea and Damian were backstage, and Damian's like, did you find me a partner for tonight to face Finn and whoever else, or Finn and JD, because I have a tag match and I don't have a partner? And Rhea's like, yeah. And Damian's like, did he say yes? And Rhea's like, no, he didn't say yes. And Damian's like, what did he say? And he said yeet. So we know we're getting there. But then Gunther would come to the ring, and we're going, well, if it's not Randy, who's next? We were going through our mind.
I'm going to be honest. This person did not pop up in my head.
Yeah.
Did not.
He'd come to the ring. He said Bash was the most successful arena show in WWE history. Mm-hmm. And it was all because of me. I was responsible for it. Now I got to come back to this piece of crap place, Denver, Colorado. Mm-hmm. Because I beat Randy at his very best. Now I can claim that I have beaten the greatest version of Randy Orton ever. So basically, he's the best. It's another chapter in my world heavyweight champion, which will be the greatest reign of all time. And when he says that, Sami Zayn's music hits. Oh. Is that better? Let's go.
That's probably your best one.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was the best one.
And I immediately did this. Oh, not a Sami guy, but eventually I warmed up to it. So he comes out and he says, the true greats, and he lists a bunch of them, won the IC title first, then use that to get to that belt that you're holding. Now, that's exactly what you did, and props to you, Gunther, but now that's what I'm going to do. I want the world title. Gunther said, you're right. It is what people do, but the problem is with that list of men that you just listed, you're nowhere near that list. You really aren't, Sami Zayn. But I will give you the props, as he said. He said, you always get back up. Whenever you're down, you get back up in this ring. You have that fire in your eye. You have the passion for this title. And because of that, no. Mm-hmm. The answer to your challenge is no. He throws the mic, music hits, he gets out of the ring. And I'm like, damn, this is how they ended it? But no, Mr. Sami Zayn hasn't done his circle around the ring screaming yet. So Sami gets the mic and goes, hold on a damn second. Why are you backing down? You're Gunther. I've never seen you back down before, but I think I know why. You're backing down because I'm the only one that's ever beaten you on mainstream, on WWE and WWE television. He goes, I will be champion and I will be coming for you. So, Sami Zayn is next in line. It looks like Sami Zayn is going to be the one to challenge Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't like Sami. That's noted. I'm not a big Sami guy, but the idea of him being the only man to beat Gunther, that makes sense. That's enough of a reason to be here at this moment. I'll pop it.
Yeah, everything they said in the promo, it made sense.
Yep.
It really kind of was like, okay, and as we said, we need some people to kind of be those B feuds until we can bridge the gap to some higher profile ones. I'm going to go ahead and drop this one.
Okay.
I'm not a Sami fan, but that's not even the reason why I'm dropping this one. I think for me, it's the turnaround, like how quick. Like we just saw this build up to Mania, and it's 4-ish months later, like, and Gunther gets the belt, and it's basically like right after sort of thing. I'm sure that has happened before, but I don't like when it's going to be the same story that we just saw to build up to Mania. So for me, it's like, maybe if it was a couple defenses down the line, maybe if Gunther had had some more other feuds before this one, maybe I'd be a little bit more bought into this one. But I just feel like it's going to be the same thing we just saw for a couple months pre-Mania. You're
right. It probably will be. It'll be the underdog story and all this stuff, but he might brag that he won once here and there. I just think it's 100% a 1 month feud that Gunther can squash that bug that might be there, the Sami Zayn beat me bug. Yeah. What's probably going to happen is Sami Zayn loses, Jay loses to Braun Breaker, and then Jay and Sami can finally go off and do their tag title stuff. But I really hope Gunther wins this match and wins it handedly. Not a full squash, but I want it to be a dominating victory for Gunther to really kick off his world title run in a good way. So
yeah, and I guess maybe that's a little bit on what I'm worried about. I guess this is a good, easy, quick way to get him on the card at maybe Bad Blood, because you can say, oh, they have Bad Blood from the IC stuff, but I know we're gonna get some segments in the coming weeks of a haluva kick, and Gunther's down for the count, and he just knocked out from a haluva kick. Just for me, it just doesn't. It is what it is, I guess. He was off TV for a little bit, Sami was, and maybe for me, it just wasn't long enough because the absence makes the heart, grow fonder. I understand they probably called him and were like, "Hey, we need somebody to face him," so it's kind of like a break glass emergency. But it's also like you just lost a Braun Breaker. You just haven't been away long enough for me to buy back in to be like, "Oh my God, it's Sami Zayn,"
I agree. Jey Uso would have a interview backstage with Jackie Redmond when Braun Breaker would show up, and he'd say, "Last week I told you that no one in your family has ever beat mine, and hopefully you don't think that you're that guy because you're not that guy." He goes, "I'm giving you one last chance. Keep chasing mommy, keep yeeting, but walk away from this Intercontinental Title Tournament because you will lose, and you're going to lose. I will beat your ass." And Jay said, don't worry about me, rookie, is what he says. He says, "I'm going to win the IC tourney. Then I'm going to win your title from you, and I'll beat your ass while doing it. Yeet." So, probably going to win that tournament, huh?
I don't know. You said probably going to win that tournament, but you also just said maybe they lose and maybe he loses and goes on.
Well, no, I think when I say that, I think he wins the tournament but loses to Braun Breaker.
Oh, you think that's how they do it? Yeah. We'll see. I mean, as we'll get to here, 3 out of the 4 people in the final match have some sort of storyline. So one person's looking for a storyline. So
one person is. Sheamus versus Braun Strowman versus Ludwig IC tournament. This one was something. Kaiser would leave the ring immediately because he was like, "Screw this, you guys are big. I'm just going to get out and let you guys hash it out." But Sheamus would follow. When he followed, Braun Strowman would do his running thing, his running shoulder tackles, and he'd knock everybody out. But owie, my shoulder hurts, or my chest, or my entire body because I just got put through a car 7 days ago. He'd back up and go for it again. But when he got to Sheamus moved out of the way and he would go through the barricade. And we were like, okay, that's it, right? That's it for Strowman. His body's destroyed. He just went through the barricade. Have this be a Ludwig Sheamus match from now on. We'll be good. So that didn't happen because the first ones back in the ring were Sheamus and Braun Strowman. Sheamus was able to do the 10 beats to his chest and do a high kick / bro kick looking thing on the apron where Braun Strowman falls out of the ring. And we're going, that surely is it, right? That's got to be it. Kaiser would do the Kaiser roll to Sheamus. He'd get a 2 count. And then Sheamus would bro kick Kaiser. 1, 2. Pete Dunne's there. That man's working overtime. He's got a rivalry in NXT and he's got a rivalry here. He's screwed 2 people in 2 days on pins. But he beats the hell out of Sheamus with a shillelagh. And while that's happening, Braun Strowman, the guy who got put through a car 7 days ago, Walks in the ring, power slams, Ludwig Kaiser, 1, 2, 3. Braun Strowman wins this match. I get that Braun Strowman won the match probably because Bronson Reed's going to take him out anyways and take his spot in the Fatal 4-Way match, right? That's probably what we're thinking here. But I don't know. I need a more creative way to do it. I need a more believable way because now, I mean, he got put through a car 7 days ago. Drop.
Yeah, I'm going to drop this as well. There wasn't anything wrong specifically with the match.
Yeah.
The match itself, well, there was nothing wrong with it. It's just the winner.
Yeah.
It made no sense. Well, Braun doesn't even make sense why he's in the match, first of all. Ludwig Kaiser answered the open challenge on SmackDown. He lost there to LA Knight. He loses here for the IC title. I feel like they're just racking up losses for him. I feel like they need to probably put him in something where he can get some wins.
Yeah.
Pre-injury, I at least was a big fan of it. I feel like people were getting behind him being a credible heel. I feel like we're kind of losing that a little bit. The Sheamus Pete Dunne stuff, it is what it is. I don't really care. The Braun Strowman win just makes no sense. And as we look at the Fatal 4-Way, you got Jey Uso, who's intertwined with like the Judgment Day. You got Braun Strowman with Bronson Reed. So that's probably going to be somehow, some way. Who else is the other one? Who's the third one? You got Dragunov and...
I don't know who that third one is. Who won that match? I go back real quick.
We can go back and look at... Oh, it was... What's his name? Anyway, Dragunov's the only one that doesn't have a story when you look at it.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to destroy us for not knowing this. We should know this. So to me, at least, like while you said Jey Uso probably wins it and then he loses to Braun Breaker, it just makes sense to me to have Dragunov win. But as I'm talking about that, like Jey Uso probably gets the win and Judgment Day probably costs him versus Braun Breaker.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Probably the way that goes.
I agree. That should be the way it goes.
I just wish that, like, I'm going back on what I said because Dragunov and Braun Breaker have already feuded. There's too many Brauns in this thing. By the way. I'm sitting here trying to wrap my brain. Dragunov and him have already feuded so many times. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want to get like tired of that. But the way that they built this Fatal 4-Way, it's Pete Dunne.
Pete Dunne.
That's who it is. The way that they built the Fatal 4-Way match, like 3 out of the 4 have storylines. It would just make sense storyline-wise for him to be the winner because everybody else can go off and do their own thing, but then they have Braun Breaker cutting promos against Jey Uso. So it's like, you kind of give that away. We're not going to think that Jey Uso is going to be a credible threat to the title.
Well, now Jey Uso has Judgment Day on his back, though, assumedly.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, so it's like, you have Braun Breaker cutting that. So like, maybe Jey does win and he goes on, but then it's all something I was kind of excited for. Like, they kind of just threw in a bunch of triple threat matches and a Fatal 4-Way match, and they kind of just were like, here you go. And you're like, well, this is just like a bunch of mumbled, jumbled food. You know what I mean?
I agree. We'll see, though. Anyway, we'll move it on to our main event. Right before the main event, Jey would talk to Damian Priest and be like, I used to be you with no family, no friends and stuff like that. So I got your back. And plus, I can never say no to mommy. And Damian's like, okay, let's just take care of business tonight, destroy Judgment Day, yeet. So we get our main event. Damian Priest and Jey Uso taking on the tag team champions, Finn Balor and J.D. McDonough.
This is I believe their first match since they won the belts.
Yeah. Not for the belts. Right? Yep. Finn would start the match against Damian Priest until Damian would take one step and Finn would run. Finn would run out of the ring, tag in J.D. McDonough. And the commentator, Joe, would actually call that out. Props to Joe there.
Joe, as the night went on, he was finding himself a little bit. Yeah. Some rough patches there for sure. We're trying to be positive. We try to be positive as a whole. There wasn't a lot to be positive. We'll be positive that maybe Joe can...
Oh, of course.
Get a little bit better.
We do try to be positive about wrestling in general because we love the stuff and we do this, and obviously we want to do this and have fun doing it. But tonight was just, Anyway, when Finn tagged in JD, he would get destroyed. Basically, this match worked. Whenever Damian Priest is in the ring, he was destroying everybody else. Yeah. Jey Uso was doing some work of he would let the offense roll on him for a couple of minutes here. But they'd get the advantage of Jey, as I just said, and they would take turns stomping him, destroying him. Distracting the ref, and the other guy on the outside would get a couple moves off on him, a couple jabs, doing some heelish Judgment Day stuff until Jey would eventually get a suicide dive over the top rope to both of them. Looked real cool. Damian pulled the rope down for him. Good stuff. They would stay working on Jey, though, when we came back from break. And they actually looked like a good tag team here. And I was like, these are our tag team champs. Yeah. This is nice. Yeah. But the hot tag to Damian would ensue. And like I said earlier, when Damian was in the ring, he was winning. So he was destroying both Finn and JD with kicks, corner splashes that he does, big clothesline to Finn. But a Finn distraction leads to Finn distracts the ref for a moment, and that would lead to JD reaching over the ropes, getting a hold of Damian for a second. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Maybe they'll get some stuff in. No, Damian would double clothesline both of them. And then Jay would already be at the top rope when he did the double clothesline. He'd do a cross body and then get some super kicks on to JD and also spear JD. He would go for a top rope splash or an Uso splash when Liv Morgan's there to save the day. She does the old-fashioned sweep the leg. Jay falls, hits his nuts on the top turnbuckle, falls. Good stuff. I was like, that's some old school wrestling. I like that type of stuff. But Finn would take advantage of this. He would coup de grace to Jay. JD would do a moonsault onto Jay. 1, 2, Damian Priest breaks the pin. Don't know why Liv didn't warn him, but it's okay. When this happened, when he broke the pin up, Rhea's music hits. Mm-hmm. And she's coming out there and her knee it's got a big brace on it. She's got a freaking crutch. She's on a crutch walking out to the stage.
Yes.
And I'm like, please don't run, Liv. Please don't run. She turns, she starts laughing and mocking her. And she even like limps up to Rhea. And I'm like, that's good stuff. Yeah, I love this.
I did like that.
I love this. Until Rhea hits her with the crutch. Mm-hmm. Rhea hits Liv with the crutch. And what happens? Liv doesn't then go, oh no, I can just kick her in the knee and take the moment over. Liv runs. She runs.
And Rhea's swinging the crutch and hitting it on the...
Rhea is chasing her on one leg, hopping and just like, get away from my porch, you kids.
Yeah,
with the crutch.
Like you said, like, you were like, oh, Rhea's not actually hurt. And that would have made sense here if she like attacked her with the crutch and she wasn't actually hurt.
Yeah.
But then she goes back to sell that she's actually still hurt.
Yeah.
No.
Liv runs out of the match. She runs away. Jay spears Finn. Damian does the Razor's Edge to JD, and then Jay splashes JD. Jay and Damian Priest beat the tag team champions here. What more? I mean, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say here?
What do I want you to say? I want you to pop or drop this. I want you to pop or drop.
This is a drop. Our tag team champions basically got no offense in against Damian Priest, who we were heavily loving during his title reign. Dude now looks like he's freaking prime Roman Reigns during his title streak. Liv Morgan's running away from a hobbling Rhea Ripley. I don't see logic here. I see none. Drop.
Yeah, I'm going to drop this as well. I guess I'm going to talk about the match itself. This felt like a very house showy finish.
Yeah.
As we talked about with like the Bash in Berlin stuff. Like, there's been a lot of house showy finishes, SmackDown with the street fight, stuff like that. My issue is like Damian Priest did just drop the belt, right? Not too long ago. You have Jey Uso versus the tag champs. And their first match that we've seen on TV, I think, like I said, not defending the belts, but since they won the belts, it's not like you have take it back to Attitude Era. It's not like you have like a New Age Outlaws that are champions versus like a Austin and Taker who are like fighting each other, right?
Right.
Like it's not two top
right
guys. So like in that sense, when there's two top guys,
take the L every once
against the tag team, like that makes sense. To me, this match they kind of felt like they were trying to do something like that in this. The match itself just didn't work for me. Not enough tag team stuff from JD and Finn, who are the tag champs. You have Damian Priest looking ridiculously overpowered, like you're fighting a level 100 boss.
Yeah.
You know, when you load into a game. You got Jay who got his moves in. I don't even have a problem with Jay here.
No,
Jay was
not at all.
The least of my worries in this.
Jay was great.
You got Rhea coming out on one leg. Liv's still running. Makes no sense. This match, I also thought, where's the rest of Judgment Day? Like Dom just ran away. He ran out of the arena. Like Dom could have made an appearance of some sort. Carlito had just got flicked off. You know, he got punched once. There's no Carlito. So it's just like the Judgment Day again. There's no reason to really believe in them. They're building up Damian Priest and Jay and Rhea. And it's like, it's almost just too much at this point. It makes it really hard to sit there and believe. Like next week on Raw, I'm not going to sit there. Like Jey Uso, I think he could just spear all those people in the Fatal 4-Way match. Damian Priest could take on the whole roster, and Rhea could go out there and I don't know, beat American Made by herself. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's no believability at this point.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
In my opinion, Judgment Day is officially a joke. This Judgment Day 2.0, like you said, Carlito gets hit early in the night, doesn't show up the rest of the night. He must just be out with a sore cheek. Dom runs away from a title match to never be seen again without getting hit. Okay. Liv is being chased. Our women's world champion is being chased out of the arena by a hobbling woman, waving a crutch at her. What are we doing here? And our tag team champs, on top of that, just lose. Like, how am I defending any of this? I get that you need to build up the Terror Twins every once in a while, but it's been every single week, and there has been no proof that the Judgment Day can do anything to any of these people, because even during the match, whenever Damian was in the ring, it was squash material, man. It was literal squash material. Like, I love Damian Priest and I love Rhea Ripley. This is making me dislike them. Did you just turn their sliders up to 100 and say go? That's what this feels like. And I'm trying to be positive about the whole ordeal, but I just can't be. You're just making all these guys look like cartoon characters. Yeah,
we try to be positive. We keep saying it. We've been a little bit critical maybe of Jey Uso, but that's kind of been like rightfully so. The Rhea and Damian stuff, like you said, big fans of both of them. We thought Rhea coming back with like the Liv stuff was going to be really good, and it was really good there for a little bit. Damian, we were really big supporters of his title run that we thought kind of like when he first got that belt, we were like, oh God, we're kind of nervous. But we actually grew to really like Damian Priest. Even at the end when he lost the title, it was like, I don't want him to lose the title. Now it's just way too much. I mean, the tag champs losing, the tag champions are a joke. Yep. So I mean, Jay and Damian might as well just take the belts off of them, and maybe they do.
Yep.
The women's world title, like I don't know where we went wrong with like the Liv stuff. Like a lot of the comments after the Bash pay-per-view were like, oh, well, maybe Monday provides some clarity, and that's what I was trying to tell some people is maybe Monday on Raw something happens and we get some clarity. We get something kind of, maybe we took a left turn and we're back on track this way and the right way going forward, and you can believe in Judgment Day again. Right now, there's no belief. I mean, the Judgment Day was something I was excited to see every week, and now I can't even, I'm not excited to even see them anymore because it's like, well, what are they going to do? They're going to lose again?
And if, say, next week they come out and like somehow a sneak attack works perfectly on Damian and they outnumber him for one night, I'm going to be like, okay, you got him for a night. Like, what's going to happen at Bad Blood? So, I mean, we could sit there and talk about that all day long, but Judgment Day is officially an issue to me, and to me is officially a joke. But that is going to make history for our channel. This is the first ever SmackDown or Raw or PLE that will be a drop for the week. Not much bright stuff here.
No, and there probably should have been a Raw or a SmackDown previously that we did drop. But like I said, we do try to be positive.
Yep.
This one, there was not a lot of positivity. No. I feel like every direction they could have gone in terms of something positive, like you could pull something positive out of something, they just made the wrong decisions on a lot of stuff.
Yep.
It's not even a sense of like me wanting, right? It's not even a sense of like, I'm a big Ludwig Kaiser fan. I wanted him to win that match. Sheamus, has the Pete Dunne stuff, but it just doesn't make sense why Strowman's in that.
Yeah, there was no logic at Raw tonight. There was no logic at Raw, and I get it, scripted entertainment, but WWE's been doing such a good job of meshing, of blurring the lines between real and fake booking, and it's been so good for so long that you have a night like this where it feels like all logic and it just feels like who wrote this? Like what are we doing here? Did the people writing this just not watch for a few weeks, or they just don't know? It just feels like the script was broken over the leg tonight. So just not a good night. Not a good night. But we're going to stay positive on everything because overall wrestling is good right now. And I'm looking forward to SmackDown and we'll get there.
I don't know, because the last SmackDown I wasn't a big fan of. And it's always like, you know what? I'll look forward to Mondays with Raw. That was not very good either.
We're gonna be positive for the future. Anyway, follow us on all of our socials at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. Listen to us wherever you get your podcasts at Spotify, Apple, etc. And join our Discord if you want. Our link tree at our bio. We have people talking all Raw, all SmackDown, all Bash in Berlin. It's been a lot of fun, so join it if you want.
And some NXT.
Yep, and some NXT, of course. Great show as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We will see you next time.